The movie spread attracts attention and promises to please many. The story begins with Nicky walking out of an expensive house, reflecting on his attractiveness. From his very first day in Los Angeles, he dreams of mingling with women, a goal he achieves flawlessly. One evening, Nicky goes to a nightclub and meets his future target, Samantha. At first, she pretends she isn't interested, but his persistence proves stronger and he gets her into bed. The next day, Samantha has to leave for work, but Nicky pretends to still be asleep. To his surprise, she doesn't kick him out. Instead, she gives him her credit card to buy some food while she's at work. He swims in the pool and even tries to cook dinner, extending his stay at her house. When Samantha returns, he does everything to make her feel like a queen, and when asked about his job, he says he doesn't have one yet. They begin to make love, and the pattern repeats for the next few days. One day, Samantha is called to another city, and Nicky convinces her that he should stay home for a party where his best friend Harry is invited. Their conversation is interrupted by Nicky's ex-girlfriend Helen, which makes him concerned that she will guess the house isn't his. He asks Harry to get her out of there. Their conversation is interrupted again, this time by Christine, who asks to see his house. Nicky can't resist and takes advantage of this to get her into bed at the end of the tour. Later, when the two friends are alone, Nicky offers Harry a place to sleep in the next room. A new day arrives, and Nicky invites his friend Emily, who knows what a manipulator and liar he is. Even so, she can't resist him, and they make love. Emily offers to start a serious relationship, but Nicky refuses and takes her to a motel. At home, he has business with another girl, but everything is spoiled when Samantha unexpectedly returns. A fight starts between them, but Nicky manages to convince her to keep the relationship alive. While Samantha is at work, Nicky goes into a cafe where Heather works, but she is different and rejects his advances. He doesn't want to back down, so he leaves without paying the bill and leaves his number. Heather quickly finds him and orders him to pay the bill. Nicky offers to show her the house, but she clearly says no. Over the next few days, he can't stop thinking about Heather, causing Samantha to fade into the background. He gets an idea and asks a friend to help him pretend to be a rich businessman, with Harry as his assistant. Heather notices his expensive car and tells Nicky that he's facing a parking ticket. He runs out of the cafe to avoid getting the ticket, but it doesn't work. However, Heather gives him her number. That evening, Nicky tries to call Heather, which Samantha notices. A new day dawns and Harry tells him to forget the waitress, but Nicky can't stop until he gets what he wants. Later, Nicky pranks a friend, which Harry doesn't like, and he kicks the friend out. That same afternoon, Heather calls Nicky back and suggests they go out to dinner. During their dinner, she gets a phone call from someone and has to leave immediately. Nicky doesn't understand what happened and asks for an explanation, but Heather just leaves without saying anything. The next day, Samantha accuses Nicky of dating someone else. When he denies everything, she asks him to take her to the hospital and pick her up the next day. After he takes her to the hospital, Nicky returns to the cafe and finds that Heather no longer works there. However, when he gets home, he finds her swimming in the pool. She apologizes for leaving suddenly, explaining that her brother has a rare disease and needed help right away. A new day arrives and Nicky takes Heather's key to park her car, but to his surprise, he finds a couple of cigars in the car. He assumes the cigars belong to her boyfriend and orders her to get out. When he arrives at the hospital, the doctor informs him that after the surgery, they will need to hold off on making love for a while to ensure proper healing. A few days later, Samantha notices that Nicky has stopped returning her calls and decides to end their relationship. Before leaving, an angry Samantha throws Nicky's phone into the water, and now homeless, Nicky tries to enlist Harry's support, but after their argument, Harry has no intention of opening the door. Similarly, Emily won't let the manipulative man into her home. Desperate, Nicky dials Harry to apologize and suggests they meet at a club. There, he meets Sean, and seeing them talking to the women makes Nicky feel uncomfortable. He tries to stand up for them but ends up getting kicked out of the establishment. Harry states that the girls are just dancers, to which Nicky replies that he shouldn't objectify women. Harry calls such words hypocritical. Looking for a new home, Nicky tries to sneak into the park but gets kicked out quickly. A new day arrives, and having saved up the last of his money, he rents the cheapest motel. This life doesn't suit him, so he goes to the most expensive hotel and chooses his new target. To his surprise, Heather is at the hotel. She accuses him of his shallow tastes, forcing Nicky to admit that he has no money for housing or food. It's his only chance to feel human. Heather suddenly insults Nicky's current target, showing that she's just like him. A little later, she invites him to her house but warns him about her drug-addicted neighbor who never leaves her room. Heather admits that she's broken up with the owner of the Porsche she's been driving and now has a much bigger goal in mind. the duo starts working as a team. Nikki helps her find a new rich victim for a portion of the proceeds. Well into the evening, the couple parties together and starts dating. After eating an expensive meal, Heather gives out a piece of tin foil and asks him to chew it along with the food, using this pretext to refuse to pay. Every day their relationship grows stronger, but Heather continues to make money the same way, which bothers Nikki a lot. While he is sleeping, she receives a package full of petal growth. Nikki notices Heather in a rather depressed state, and when he asks what happened, she replies that she broke off the wedding. Nikki doesn't understand why she didn't say anything earlier. She explains that her fiancé was a very rich man who owned a company in New York, but Nikki is much more important to her. Nikki asks if her feelings are real or part of an act. Heather insists they are sincere since she chose him even though Nikki has no money. Nikki sees this as an insult, causing him to leave for a cafe where he refuses all offers because he wants to start a new life with Heather. Before returning home, he finds a newspaper with job vacancies. When he gets home, he finds a note from Heather on the table saying she needs to go back to New York and take care of a couple of issues. Nikki immediately tries to call her, but no one answers. A new day arrives and he bumps into his old friend. Seeing that she is drunk, he offers her a ride home. Suddenly he gets a call from Heather. She swears she didn't go to her ex, but then hears a woman's voice in the background. Nikki tries to explain that he was just trying to help, but Heather thinks he's back at his old job and hangs up. Back at Heather's apartment, he tries to talk to her neighbor, who suggests he fly to New York to propose to Heather, but there's a problem: Nikki has no money. Harry helps him by telling his story. Upon arrival in the city, Nikki goes to the address of the groom. Heather opens the door, and Nikki is well aware that she is hurt. He swears that nothing happened and tells her she needs to realize that her life is not what she dreams of because money will not bring happiness. However, Heather refuses to go back. Nikki pulls out a ring to show that he's ready for more, but Heather replies that she's already married. Just then, Will walks into the room. Heather pretends Nikki is just a regular delivery man. Will gives Nikki a few dollars, and he leaves with a broken heart. Upon his return to Los Angeles, Nikki intends to fix his life by working multiple jobs. One of the jobs is at Samantha's house, who has already found a replacement for him. To save money, he convinces Harry to let him stay with him. Although he used to hate his frogs, he now happily feeds them. That's the end of the movie. The film paints a vivid picture of a man, Nikki, whose life is defined by his manipulative and opportunistic nature. Initially, he thrives by exploiting wealthy women, using charm and deceit to sustain a luxurious lifestyle. However, this strategy eventually backfires, leading to his downfall as he loses the trust and affection of those around him. Nikki's encounter with Heather adds a complex layer to the story. Heather, initially a target, becomes a significant influence on Nikki's life, challenging his values and forcing him to confront his own superficial desires. Despite his efforts to change for her, Nikki's past behavior and Heather's own ambitions create insurmountable obstacles. The climax of the film is bittersweet. Nikki's attempt to propose to Heather and prove his genuine feelings is met with rejection and the realization that she has moved on, marrying someone else. This moment of heartbreak and self-reflection drives Nikki to make a genuine change in his life. Returning to Los Angeles, Nikki chooses a path of hard work and self-reliance, striving to rebuild his life on more honest terms. His willingness to work multiple jobs and his reconciliatory gesture towards Harry signify a newfound humility and a departure from his previous ways. In the end, the film leaves us with a sense of redemption and hope. Nikki's journey from a manipulative playboy to a hard-working individual underscores the theme that true fulfillment comes from sincerity, hard work, and genuine connections rather than deception and superficial charm. It's a poignant reminder that while people can change, the road to redemption is often paved with the consequences of their past actions.